Hi, this is Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about my Drudigar VidQuest. And specifically, today we're going to talk about the Direwolf Drudigar, the mount for Lig, the 20th level wizard, who served with the wizard organization, with the wizard organization, Lightwell. Okay. Now, basically, at some point, the player characters are going to engage with Drudigar, the Direwolf. So they're going to need to know the statistics and what makes Drudigar tick, and also there's virtually 100% chance of combat with Drudigar, because Drudigar recently witnessed arrows being shot at his master. His master told him to leave, and Drudigar had a very good sense that his master was dying. Okay, all right. So Drudigar is enraged, the Direwolf, and so at this point I'm going to explain to you what Drudigar's statistics are. Okay, all right. So Drudigar is a Direwolf, which means that he follows the exact template for Direwolf within the monster manual. However, he also has 3 custom runes that were tattooed on him, right? And then Lig bound wards onto those tattoos that are on Drudigar's, that are actually on Drudigar's skin. Okay, so these runes can't actually be seen because they're covered by his fur. All right, and these wards are permanent. So a permanency has been applied to these wards. So all of these wards are active on Drudigar. There are 3 wards. There is the ward Xeris, the ward Azors, and the ward Zant, and each one of them does a distinct and special thing for Drudigar. Okay, and also just a small note. So Lig actually, if the player characters have Lig's memory puddler, one of the memories in the memory puddler is Lig talking about how difficult it was to shave parts of Drudigar and get those runes tattooed. He was really not happy about it. And also you get the idea that since they journeyed together, Drudigar and Lig, really were like 2 old friends. Like they had moods, and like they would get upset with each other, that kind of stuff. It was it's very clear. It should be, one of the things you as the Dungeon Master want to get across is that the relationship between Drudigar and Lig is 2 very, very old friends who care deeply about one another and really would give their life for the other one. In fact, that's why, actually, to be super clear, Lig actually, when he sent Drudigar away, he did spare the library of spells. Every single wizard spell is on the 4 slim spell books that are on Drudigar. Okay, and that is Lig's personal library. It's also the library of Lightwell, the wizard school he belongs to, right? But one of the things that was clear is, Lig sent Drudigar away because he was worried that White would kill Drudigar, and actually not worried enough that White would kill him, which they did, right? So, but White had, the team of female assassins, they came specifically to get the spells. They didn't really come to kill Lig. That was a byproduct of trying to steal those specific spells. Now, the Team White absolutely knew that the death of Lig would bring about the stealing of the spell books much, much more easily. All right, thanks for hearing all that. Let's get right into what do these wards that are on Drudigar do. So once again, the wards are, the first ward is Xeris, the second ward is Azors, and the third ward is Zant. Okay, so Xeris is a very special ward, and what it does is any non-magical missile weapon that is sent at Drudigar, okay? And that would include arrows, daggers, throwing axes, and you know, bullets that came from slings, all kinds of things like that, javelins, and actually the list even goes further than that, okay? All of that is essentially, all of that. What happens is when those non-magical missile weapons are sent at Drudigar, what they do is when they reach 5 feet away from Drudigar, they are very, very quickly captured in a centrifugal force and spun around Drudigar. So actually, they're halted in their momentum, and they then begin a very small, quick orbit around Drudigar. They're spun around Drudigar very, very quickly, more quickly than when they were actually come in. A magical force spins them up even faster, and then it kicks the that attack out toward any creature randomly that is around around Drudigar that is not Lag, and that's it. So essentially, you shoot it. So just to give an example, let's say that actually what the six bells, what they specialize in is arrows. So if Drudigar gets into the village, there are going to be a whole bunch of archers that come out and start shooting arrows at them. And what happens is, as soon as anybody shoots an arrow at Drudigar, that arrow will get to within 5 feet of him, be spun around Drudigar, and then kicked right back out at one of the villagers, right? Now get this. What is the attack for that missile weapon when it comes out, right? Well, the attack for that missile weapon is +8 with advantage, okay? And then it does the normal damage that whatever that missile item would have actually applied, okay? All right, so that is Xeris. All right, let's talk about Azors. Azors is another ward where any creature that approaches Drudigar, when they get within 10 feet of Drudigar, it essentially the rune activates. There's actually light that appears on the ground, right? And there's actually a circle of light that surrounds him. And at the edge of that circle is actually the rune repeated multiple times in a large circle, okay? And then at the point of that circling at 10 feet out, whoever that creature that was approaching and heading, this is for any creature that is approaching, heading toward Drudigar, is then struck with 4d8 radiant damage. Now, this happens only once, okay? Now, the people, whoever might be approaching Drudigar, they're not going to know that, right? So let's say a paladin runs up or attempts to run up to Drudigar to smite him, right, with their Holy Avenger. Well, when they hit 10 feet, they'll actually trigger the rune, and they'll be hit with 4d8 radiant damage, okay? Now, the paladin at that point, they won't know. And I'm sorry. It also then halts any movement that they have. Okay. Now, at that point, whatever person is dealing with Drudigar, they won't know that it only triggers once, but you do as a dungeon master. Okay. All right. So that's the second ward, and that's Azors. Okay. And then the last ward is Zant. Okay. So Lag wanted to make sure that Drudigar was a very capable, he was capable of dealing damage if he needed to, right? That he was an excellent fighter, okay? All right, and so what he did was he so Zant, the last rune, what it does is it affects Drudigar's bite and claw. So his bite and claw are very unique. They are all of his bite and claw attacks, which are standard for have the same aspects as what is in the monster manual. With this addition, are made with advantage, okay? And then additionally, when they deal damage, they do not deal damage normally. They always deal damage as though a critical were rolled, okay? So all damage for any attack, any bite or claw attack from Drudigar is always dealing damage as though it critical. And if it actually, and if you as the dungeon master actually critical, you don't get any additional damage. You just get the regular critical damage. Okay, so that those are the wards that are placed upon Drudigar. So as you can tell, this is a very, very challenging adventure. Right, Drudigar is no joke. You know, he has Xeris, Azors, and Zant all on him. Lig has invested an incredible amount of time, innovation, spells, and money to make sure that that Drudigar is protected, right? And also that he's able to protect himself, right? And so, as you can see, you know, oh, by the way, real quick, so with Azors, with anyone who approaches, by the way, that 48 does not trigger if Drudigar approaches a person, okay? So it's only if someone approaches Drudigar, all right? Okay, so clearly Drudigar is a crazy dangerous direwolf, and that is all of the deadly aspects of Drudigar. Thank you.